Hello and welcome to Orcawatch for February 2026. Now, I know this is going out a little bit later than it usually would. It's with this new upload schedule that we're doing, we're not going to be including Orcawatch within the actual podcast itself. So it's going to be its own separate thing. Now, if you do want to see Orcawatch earlier in the month for the previous month, do let me know and I'll see what I can do with upload schedules. But so today, we're gonna start off with our Orca of the Month. Now, this Orca of the Month is voted by our community within the Discord server, and this month it's a special one. It's a special one. Our Orca of the Month for March is T65B1 Birdsall. Now, Birdsall is a very special Orca to me, and always will be because I had a lifelong dream before July 2024. That was to see orcas, and I wasn't going to go to a main park to see them. I do not endorse them whatsoever. I would rather never see an orca in my life than see one in captivity. But in July 2024, I decided to go to the San Juan Islands for the first time, and I finally saw them. And but the first day, we didn't see anything. I went out on a boat trip. I had booked 8 boat trips, and we didn't see anything on the first boat trip, and I was a little bit disheartened. Though a little bit less so when the naturalist said, "Yeah, you didn't see anything today. We're going to give you a free trip later on during your holiday." Which glad I got that because that was one of the best days. I ended up going on the sunset tour. Well, I actually ended up going on a trip before the sunset tour, which I think that morning trip, I think I saw. Actually, genuinely, I think I saw the T65Bs that day, which was funny because we're talking about Birdsall, and I saw Birdsall that same day, and then in the evening I saw T36s, T36, T36Bs, and T99B, T99s, and so the first day I saw nothing, and so the second day I lost a fight with gravity in the morning. I was going down to like a rocky shore, and even the paving slabs in America are different than what we have in France. I'm not used to that kind of thing, and I launched, and I very almost broke my wrist. I thought I had at the time. Um, I I have a permanent mark actually here. You can't see it well on the camera, but I actually have a scar still to this day. Almost 2 years later, of that incident, and I didn't take any medical supplies either. So I was like bleeding, and I had to clean it up when I got home, and well, got back to the hotel, and I foolishly still went to the beach before going back home to clean it up. I was dedicated, and and yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. The worst thing is I get seasick on a boat, and I have to wear wristbands, and they work on the same way as like pressure points, and so the band had to actually go over this. That was painful. I was also extremely sunburned that day. So I was out on the water on my second boat trip in quite a deal of pain. Um, Having had the day before where I saw nothing, and I was still in good spirits. I went there for the orcas. I fell in love with the islands. The scenery is fantastic, and and then the boat captain, I think his name was Gabe. Um, he he said that they were coming up upon a killer whale sighting, the T65Bs. And so I was looking through my binoculars, and I wasn't the first one. I wasn't the first one to spot them, but looking through my binoculars, there it is. Saw it. I saw it. I saw it. A really tall, thin dorsal fin because he was facing away, and we like probably about a mile out by that point already. Um, we was facing away, and it was unmistakable. It was a male because the height of the dorsal fin, and I later saw like the comparison. Oh man, there's a difference. Shout to T99C, by the way, Barracuda, because oh my god, he has a gorgeous dorsal fin. One of my best photos I took was of him during the sunset tour. But yeah, so I saw T65B1 Birdsall, and it automatically that makes him one of my favorite whales because he was my first ever orca that I saw. So it's very special to me. I'm so glad that he is Orca of the Month this month. So when we arrived on scene, we didn't just see him, of course. We also saw his mother, T65 Chunk, um, and his two brothers, which at the time, I don't think either of them were gendered. I think actually, T65B2, if I recall correctly, at this time was suspected to be a female. Called Nettle. I think now a male called Corvus. It's weird. There's two names. Um, but he has two brothers. T65B2, T65B3, and T65B3 was like a year old when I saw them. Is pretty amazing. So his brothers are 7 and 3 years old respectively. And he is also related to quite a lot of other popular big orcas. Um, let's start first of all with his wayward cousin. Let's just say T65A5 Indy, who we have covered before as our Orca of the Month. Actually, I think 2 months ago it was Indy. I think Indy was for January. Um, He's the presumed nephew of T63 Chainsaw, because Chainsaw is presumed the son of T65, but it's not confirmed, but it's like it's assumed because they're always seen together. Obviously, he's also the grandson of T65 with B2, who is actually presumed to be at least 58 years old, quite old for a big Zorka. She's matriarch. And he's also the nephew of the orca that's kind of infamous for moonwalking, as in swimming backwards sometimes. Um, T65A Artemis, and so he was last seen in October 2025 with his family, and I'm very very much hoping to see him again this summer. So let's go on to some of the other sightings now. The science data that I provide here may vary from other sources that you may see because it all depends on what sources everyone is using. Me personally, I'm using quite a few new Facebook groups. I've increased my repertoire of sources recently. One big one is finwave.io. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Now, I reached out to the Pacific Whale Watching Network, and I, as I expected, it's a closed group. As I expected, I wasn't allowed in. And I made this clear in my email to them that I'm expecting it to be no, and yet they're like, yeah, unfortunately, it has to be no. And I completely understand their reasons, and I completely support that. What they did, which they really didn't have to do, gave me links to a lot of other sources that were great. One of those were finwave.io, and wow, for big orcas, that's fantastic. For the project that I'm doing on T99B, well, the whole T36 plan, that is so useful because it has sightings, uses AI to kind of predict the individuals based on a photo ID database, and then you've got professionals, experts who will then like manually like say this is that orca or this isn't, and because of that you get like confirmed individuals. You can get confirmed individual sightings, and that's really what I needed for my project. And I actually doubled my amount of sightings for T99s as a result of that. And in fact, uh, this month, we'll be talking about sightings of T99s, which, if I did not have access to Finwave, I would be saying, well, they've not been sighted, which would have been wrong. So now for this, this can be quite wide ranging. So limiting. I'm going to be limiting the data, the information I give on sightings on big Orcas to the top point, the northernmost point of Vancouver Island. I'm not going to go further than that. Any further than that, I'm not going to report on it. I might report on it by accident, but I'm not going to cover every single sighting that there is of every orca. Um, Although any international stuff I'll be covering as well. Actually, check the news. Check the news from late February. There's actually sightings of some South African orcas. So let's first get on to the southern residents, and we'll get onto the southern residents. Then we'll get onto the bigs, and then we'll get on back onto the southern residents because we have a thing to talk about a little bit later. And if you watched that news video, then you know what I'm going to talk. It's L129. So first of all, we're going to talk about our adopted orca, L90 Balena. L90 Balena was actually spotted for the first time since November, and was spotted with the greater L4s. So L-pod is sometimes split into two subpods. The greater L4s and then the others. I don't know what the others are referred to, but the greater L4s are the ones I know. And L90, she is often with the greater L4s. Now, she doesn't have any surviving family, to our knowledge. So she's sticking with friends, um, whenever she can. So she's sometimes seen with one match line, sometimes seen with another. Um, but she was actually photographed on the 16th of February by the Centre for Our Research on the very same trip that newborn L129 was seen for the first time. And actually, no, we're not going to come back to the Southern Residents because I'm going to talk about this now. So, L-pod, this is recorded on the 4th of March, 2026. L-pod were spotted to my sources, on the 16th of February, with a brand new calf, L129. Now, L129 could be the calf of L55, who is a 49-year-old female. 49 years old is quite old for a mother orca, but not completely out of the realm of possibility. The other potential one is L103. Now, L103 is the daughter of L55. So, L55 has 4 living calves. L103 has 1. And so it could be either. We really don't know. I'm I'm gonna send you over to that video that I posted over at the start of the month. Uh, Actually, technically, when I'm recording this, it went live yesterday. Because there I explained echelon position and why L55 could very much be the mother, because the calf was only seen in echelon position with L55. That being said, not out of the question that it's a mother orca that's helping her daughter with her daughter's new calf. It's very much possible. Now, we want to approach L128, L129 with massive cautious optimism, and yeah, the mortality rate of calves within particularly the first year is extremely high within the southern residents, unfortunately. So we'll see. I mean, it's not for either of these potential mothers. It's not their first calf, so this calf has a higher chance of survival than if it was the first calf. So K Pod was wow. I'm not editing that out. K Pod were also not spotted during this month. They were not spotted during February, to my knowledge. J Pod were spotted. I mean, throughout the month, there was like about a week where I don't think they were spotted. I've got a gap between the 6th and the 16th. 16th, they were heard on the hydrophone. Um, I don't, I don't know if they were heard with L-Pod on the 16th. They also heard on. They're also they were seen throughout the month. J-Pod. Um, let's go on to Biggs now. Yeah, so I'm using FinWave now, and I have a massive list of Biggs Orcas, well, Biggs groups that were seen during this month. Massive, massive list. So I'm not going to talk about all of them. What I'm going to do is, from this point on in the video, I'm going to display on the other side of my screen, I'm going to display a list of all the matrolines and individuals, if they weren't with their matroline, that was spotted during the month of February. If there's some that interest you, um, like if you want me to cover particular matrolines like periodically or every month, let me know in the comments if you've got favorites. I'll cover them because okay. So what you see over here, these are all like the miscellaneous ones. These are the ones I'm not about to talk about because I have some that I will be about to talk about, which are my favorites actually. So the T35, the T36Bs, and T36, they were seen around Johnstone Strait around the middle of the month. So they're one of my favorite matrolines. Um, Mostly because I saw them. So were the T99s, who were also spotted throughout this month. Now, last year, T99B was spotted uh, quite often, quite often apart from the T99s. So if you don't know, T99B Holly is actually the mascot of the Whale Talk podcast. She's in our avatar. That is her in the avatar. She's not here though. If I would go on to the other scene, you'll see it. This orca that you see on screen, I'm going to leave that to the comments. Can you identify it just based on the eye patch alone? Let me hide my camera for a second. Can you tell me which orca this is? I do know which orca this is. So, yeah. So, yeah, back on to T99s. T99s were spotted this month. And T99B with them. They were spotted last in the north of Johnstone Strait. And yeah, they've been seen periodically through the month and were last seen actually towards the end of the month as well. So everyone else that was spotted, you'll see them on the other side of the screen. Here, you would have seen them throughout this entire thing. So that's it. That is it for Orcawatch for February. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're okay. that I'm a little bit more rambly during Orcawatch because I don't do multiple takes. I do one take for Orcawatch, and I kind of go off on one because sometimes I want to share my own experiences. So might be a little bit more rambly than you're used to. I'm going to try and include more graphics on screen, particularly if I have the photos myself of various pods. And you know, okay, from now on, okay, Orca Watch, I'm going to try my best to only include my own stuff, like media wise. So, uh, have a wait. So I talked to Gio about like how I outro from like these videos. So there was actually something I wanted to sign off with the news video, and I thought about it 2 seconds after I pressed stop recording. So I'm just going to say it here. Well, actually, I'm going to ask you first of all to subscribe to the channel. We do a podcast once a month, as well as more informative videos. We do 2 news videos per month as well, and Orcawatch. Now, the news videos and Orcawatch used to be part of the podcast. They are now going to be their own separate thing going forward. And the podcast is more going to be discussion-based topics with me and GFS. So, yeah, I hope you have a whale of a day. God, that's so bad.